He has going up against MVP NYM Monster.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough match for him. But Thorzain has shown great resilience in the past. He's the Spoon Terran. Now, for those of you guys who don't know what I'm referring to, Spoon Terran is a nickname that was given to Thorzain because a Korean netizen posted online that he's like it's like he kills his opponents with a spoon because it takes him so long to do it. That's where the nickname comes from. And, you know, that's the case. A lot of time he gets huge advantages in games, doesn't even capitalize on it, just takes another base, continues to move out slowly and patiently.
Holds a containment and is like, yeah, you got to expand sometime. You might as well just come out and, you know, slowly and draws it out. Will he be able to take the victory over MVP? Every time, MVP, NYM, I'm just going to call him Monster from now on. Right?
Yeah, just call him that. That's okay.
It's going to be like just Monster.
He is Monster.
The first map is going to be on Cloud Kingdom.
Yeah, and, you know, Monster, don't forget, said earlier in an interview that he feels he has an 80% chance of winning against Thorzain. He feels very confident.
Very, very big statement there. And, well, there's one individual that's going to try to prove him wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that he's going to be trying his best. He said that he's feeling confident. He's had a great day today, sweeping his group, and then going 4-0 so far.
Yeah, he went against Sokka and just tore him apart. I mean, those games were the fastest best of 3 we've cast all day. They were just so quick and just very technical. I mean, he capitalized on Sokka's mistakes. He didn't make any mistakes of his own. Looked very strong.
Even though we do look at Monster as a kind of a weak opponent, I suppose you could say, if we look at his results in Korea, if we look at how he's done here, he is also, like Polt was prior to, well, still is, I suppose, undefeated in this tournament. You know, he's dropped maps still, but he hasn't lost this series.
He hasn't lost a single series, and that's really important to note. That shows consistency in his play.
Yeah, and, well, he's going to need a lot of consistency going up against Thorzain. I don't know, man. How do you think it's going to go down? Do you think Thorzain will win? You think Monster will win?
You know, this is a hard call to make. Right now, I feel like with how Thorzain is playing in this event, he looks very strong. I would give a slight edge to Thorzain here because Monster, even though he sounded confident in his interview and his play, I see a little bit of weakness. I see more patience in Thorzain. He's got the crowd behind him. He's in his hometown. I think I have to give a slight edge to Thorzain here. And normally, I would never do that against a Korean, but in this case, I have to.
And Koreans are dropping like flies. Really, I can't believe Paul managed to go towards the final, his second final here. Are we going to see another Korean drop, or is Thorzain going to land the hammer? That's going to be the question within this series. But looking over the map pool, I mean, we really haven't seen any of these 2 new maps that are coming, Vicious and Frigid Pass. It seems like the majority of players here have not had experience on it and have just opted to veto that out. But if you veto those maps out, that actually leaves a lot of vulnerable maps here.
Yeah, that definitely does. You know, the thing about vetoing these maps is this came up earlier. I believe it was Maro who encountered this. If you don't veto the map because you're like, well, I want to veto this other map, that's a cool strategy. But if your opponent has the same one, you end up on the map, so it's kind of risky. Having these maps in here, in general, I'm a little bit disappointed I haven't gotten to see more play on them because I can't judge them until I see that super high-level play on them. I mean, they're not in the ladder pool. I don't have time to practice on them otherwise, so I don't exactly know how they play out. So I'm a little bit disappointed. I feel like these maps in general have just been not played on, so nobody really knows about them.
Cloud Kingdom, though, one map that we have seen a lot of Terran versus Zergon. We've seen a lot of different styles come from Terran on this matchup, whether it be a very standard style, where they go for the Reactor Hellion expansion, then follow it with Marine and tanks, or whether it be a more aggressive option, such as, you know, the Cloak Banshees, or whether it be a lot more passive third command center, double engineering bay incredibly early. Thorzain is the only one right now to make that decision on what he's going to do here against an opponent that has been overlooked a little bit in this tournament, that's incredibly dangerous and has had okay results in this matchup in, of course, the hardest league there is out there, the GSL.
And I wouldn't put it past Thorzain to, remember, change up his style completely and go for a 2 racks, for example, on a 2-player map like this. But even more likely, I think, is that he might go for mech play. Not on this particular map necessarily. This is not a very good map for mech, but he may try to do it anyways. He may try to go mech on some of the other maps in our map pool. I've seen him go mech on this map and win, and he definitely can do that. It's one of his options.
It'll be interesting to see what he does do there with that. But also consider this. This is still a best-of-3 series, as we have a curfew this evening, as everybody's got a meeting at the party at the club.
Will you be there?
I'm going, yes.
I'll see you there, man.
You see me there?
I will. I'll probably actually go with you.
Really?
Go together.
No, man. That's not the case. This is a strictly working relationship. You know that, right?
I thought that you and I had something going.
I understand the casting between us has been pretty good. We've enjoyed working together, but, you know, it's nothing past that, Wolf.
I'm not sure if I can. All right, I'm going to have to be professional here and continue this cast. I'm a little bit embarrassed. Like, I can feel my face turning red right now.
It is actually getting a little bit red.
I'm just like, Apollo, I didn't know.
Is it because they like put makeup on me? Is that like why you're saying this? Like, don't do that, man. All right, guys, let's have a quick look at the bracket of how we've been doing today. Wolf in
I'm actually gonna die. It's actually really funny.
And look at that. We did see Show versus Polt. Game number 1 here. Polt 2-0 over Show and continues that streak 2-0 against Rhett. Rhett did have a pretty good win against Genius. Couldn't quite go the distance. Couldn't quite double punch the Koreans out here. But then into the low bracket. Munster almost lost versus Nurture. If we recap that, if you think about it, Nurture had that.
He basically had that series won. It was a weird series in a lot of ways, but I really enjoyed watching it, and it's something I definitely recommend going back and checking out those VODs if you haven't seen it. And even if you did see it, go back and watch it again. Tell your friends about it. By the way, everyone right now should get on Twitter and hashtag DreamHack. Tweet about it. Tweet about if you're here in this venue right now, pull out your smartphone and do it. If you're sitting at home, you can Alt-Tab. You can press Control-T. Get everybody talking about this tournament. Get everyone in this. You know, not only hashtag DreamHack, but also put a link to the stream there so that everybody can find this.
Indeed. And I wanted to bring up a point, and then you brought that up, man. I was looking at Thorzain versus Suck, and I'm like, yeah, that's going to be the most equal match out of all of them. It's like the most one-sided one of all of them.
Yeah, that was my worst prediction so far.
Nevertheless, that leads us into the semifinal, which is the second semifinal, which is going to be Maspos Thorzain going up against Munster, and now the players are ready. Is the crowd ready? You guys drunk enough to be ready for this?
Sounds like yes. It. Yeah, I think you got to press that button, man. Are you ready to do it?
I always forget about that. All right, let's get this game underway. This is going to be, of course, Terran versus Erg once again. A great matchup, Cloud Kingdom. Let's see Thorzain saying that he's strong across all 3 matchups. Let's see him prove it.
Yeah, let's see him prove it indeed. This is going to be such an exciting best of 3. Thorzain, I mean, when I saw him in his interview, he looked so happy and so confident, and that's so important to have going into this best of 3.
All right, well, let's get ready to load into this map. Of course, Cloud Kingdom, the destination for these 2 players. In the bottom right, this guy needs no introduction. It is Mousesports Thorzain. The last remaining Swede. Going against the second Korean left in this tournament. Up in the top right, it is MYM MVP Munster. Flown all the way from Korea for this tournament. First time outside of Korea as well, and is in the semi-final of such a prestigious tournament and is gaining points towards the tour. Remember, this is stop number 1. There are more to follow. These guys now in the top 4 are in the prize money.
Yeah.
And they got a decent amount of points as well for finishing 4th.
And of course, winning this tournament is the most important part. Yeah. And that's what both of these players are really looking to do here. And this is basically the last stepping stone to get to that finals.
$22,000 to the winner, 16,000 euros. And I guess that's roughly 150 Swedish kroner.
Yeah.
For the first place champion here at DreamHack. And then also, if you want to add in the partnership with MLG, they will be having a seed into the next MLG Spring Arena as well. And we actually are seeing Munster sending out a drone scout. I do like this a lot. I mean, you need to know if your opponent's going to 2-rack you or not.
Yeah, that's very important. And Monster, I'm sure, has heard of Thorzain. His nickname, the Spoon Terran, has kind of flowed around the Korean scene. He stayed in Korea for quite some time, trained with a lot of these players, so I'm sure his style is very well known. Now, something that we're going to see from Thorzain here that we did not see from Polt is he's going for a very early gas.
Yeah, so this is good. A good decision here from Thorzain, considering that the majority of Korean players, especially the ones that have been playing StarCraft 2 for such a long time now, have incredible creep spread. And we saw that come out earlier today when we saw Hyun have impeccable creep spread. And you saw the damage that indirectly did. It pushes every timing attack back. You have to spend so much on scans to actually get rid of it. And Thorzain's going to take the nice and simple option and go ahead and say, hey, I'm going to get these Hellions out pretty damn fast. And that also gives him the opportunity to deny the third base. It also gives him the opportunity to dart in if he sees an opening and an opportunity to do so.
Yeah, basically the only downside is that you get that orbital a little bit later, but in this case he's going to go for the command center before factory. I really like how Thorzain does this. It's not unique to him, but it seems to be the way he likes to do a reactor Hellion expand. The factory should be going down here fairly soon. There it is. And of course back at home we'd see the double queens going down for Monster, doing a very normal opening himself.
Weird location for the factory to be.
Yeah, not as close to the reactor as you would expect.
Look at this, double.
Oh.
Wait a minute, that was a barracks, not a factory.
Oh,
you lied to me.
I just assumed.
And I trusted you. That's why we're not going to the club together. So it is going to be the second barracks, then the factory fall behind this. So intrigued to see what this means here for Thorzain. On the other hand, of course, our opponent looks like he's jumping up for 4 initial queens. And that's going to help his creep spread, also help his defense as well. Queen's incredible at defending, especially once they start to bank up energy if that happens. To use the transfuse, Gas will follow this very, very shortly here too. But what is Thorzain got planned here? A reactor coming down on that barracks.
The second barracks.
Oh man, he's throwing down a second factory.
Yeah,
yeah, it's going to happen.
I'm thinking that's very likely here. It's not 100%, but if he doesn't, he's going to be doing some sort of early timing attack for sure. I mean,
let's have a look.
He's making another tech lab. He's got to be making a factory there. He doesn't have the gas just yet.
Oh no, another barracks coming down.
This build from Thorzain is very unique. It's not the type of build that you normally see. I think we're going to see Stim started at that tech lab now that he's got the third barracks going up. And look at that timing, hitting it right at 100.
Yeah, so it looks like it's just going to be a more standard play from Thorzain. Probably just get Stim now instead on this tech lab very, very shortly here. And it does go down and expand. The first couple of Hellions are out on the map now. We'll be shooting across the map, but creep spread has already started. Double queen block on this initial ramp here. Hellions are going to go up and get pushed right back.
Yeah, nicely done. Very clever block there. Still no Stim research from Thorzain, who's starting to bank up about 170 gas. Something is just a little bit weird about his build here. There's the Stim. Looks like
maybe just forgot about that.
I think he was really trying to get as many units out as possible, and for that reason just didn't have enough minerals and consistently was doing that. Maybe it's possible he forgot as well, but this is a little bit weird. Great
economy here for Munster, sitting at 47 drones and a macro hatch. Nice and early. He does have speed on the way. Will start lair momentarily also. Actually, the Thorzain double evolution chambers can actually hold off on that lair for a little bit. And we'll be playing a more Ling-heavy style, of course, wanting to upgrade them immediately. Thorzain, on the other hand, has now switched over the factory. Is going to get it actually misplacement here. Look at this. And is going to change it straight over.
Yeah, very rare to see something like that. The factory, though, as you mentioned, switched now. Will start siege mode very soon to start siege tank production. He's going to be dumping all of his minerals into those marines. He's taking double gases at his natural, and meanwhile the Hellions are continuing to check for a third base. He's not really able to deny any more creep spread. I like that Monster is spreading creep on the high ground. That's something a lot more Zergs have started to do. We saw Rhett do it in the last best of 3 as well, and I really like this.
And it doesn't matter how many Lings we actually see Munster make here. He's not taking a third base anytime soon. Even if he tries to creep spread like this, Thorzain immediately stamps that down, and this is going to be really difficult here. And the longer he holds Munster away from taking a third base, the better and easier it becomes for Thorzain to go into the mid stage of this game to hold the Zerg back from getting that key economy. And he's going to move around with his Hellions. Actually comes down to the front upon seeing those Lings dart down here. And if they do decide to come down again, they're about to walk into a flame. And they do get quite a bit of damage done here.
Yeah, and the Zerglings are basically running for their lives at this point. The Hellions taking out several of them here. And, you know, the idea here with the Zerglings, I guess, was to take control of the Watchtower, try to see if there's a third base coming out for Thorzain, just get a little bit more scouting information. He's going for those double upgrades. The Infestation Pit is already coming up here with two bases. Of course, there is the Macro Hatchery to get that extra production. But I like this style from Monster.
Why is he not taking a drone and go to third base? This is really, really weird. He's still, building consistent lings.
Yeah, tons of lings. It's almost as if he wants to brute force his way through this map.
Remember, he hasn't got a Baneling nest or anything here, so he's not going to bust his way through a supply depot wall. And there comes the drone, a little bit late there to grab this third base. And that's obviously pretty good for Thorzain. But one thing for certain, though, Thorzain doesn't know about the amount of lings that are out on the map right now. Munster has built a safe amount. If any push was to come from Thorzain, it seems like it's going to get pushed back quite easy here as 1-1 upgrades are going to finish. And Thorzain, let's have a look what's inside his base here. No third command center yet here, Wolf. We do see the double engineering bay and
taking
armory
the second and the
down.
armory so you can get those 2-2s, but this is the kind of thing that Monster's hoping for. I think he wants to catch these units with this huge Zerling count. I'm not sure if this is enough, though.
Thorzain catches him, actually.
Yeah, he's got to engage that on creep. He's got to engage it with his investors. Now he's kind of tipped his hand. Thorzain's like, you have a lot of Zerlings.
1-1 upgrades. Combat shield very close to finishing as well as +1 here. A lot of lings. He has to be so careful about our counterattack. But with these infestors about to pop out here, Thorzain is treading on thin ice as he is trying to get around towards this third base. Infestors now 5 in total. Remember, there's 60 drones here. He's not even at a fully saturated 3 bases, and he's trying to get around to this tank. Thorzain retreats back and defends that easily, but that's not the problem here. It's these infestors about to pop.
Yeah, the infestors are about to pop, and he's going to attack this base right now before it's finished. The Zerlings are looking like they want to flank here. He does have several fungals available to him. It all comes down to whether or not
look at
Thorzain
this
reacts.
flank, man. This is really sick, which Munster is setting up here. The fungal growth is about to come in, but Thorzain spread pretty well, but it doesn't matter. Look how many lings there are here. Oh my god, these Marines actually survive. Look how many are in red health, and Thorzain manages to
Thorzain pushes through. His tank's still barely alive.
Wow.
One tank 15 kills, the second one 20 kills.
That's so sick, and if this hatchery goes down, Thorzain's going to get another sick advantage. And oh my god, it's slowly but surely going down.
Oh my god, I cannot believe
these investors want to jump in, but they don't have any energy. And this hatchery, 250, down to 200. Monster's trying to go in to stop this. Down to 50 HP, 30 HP. Oh my god, it actually
he's
survives.
gonna save it. I cannot believe it. The Hellions may be able to circumvent these lings and go and take it down, though. There's no queen nearby to transfuse. It still only has 37 hit points.
Oh my god, that's so incredibly tense there. And Hive is actually something we didn't really look at while that was going on. The Hive has started really, really early here. And there's no Spire down. He can actually throw down the Ultras coming very shortly, but he has spent so much of his gas in infestors.
Yes, the army supply is dead. Even the supplies are even at 109. Even the upgrades are similarly timed. The upgrades of Monster a little bit ahead here as he does have the +2 Carapace. He's adding a few more infestors in. Will Thorzain try to commit and take out that hatchery? I think it might be worth his while, but how is he going to do it? Will he be able to get in there with that many Zerglings?
These 5 Marines wanted to go around, but Munster's never going to just give this position away now. He's going to be just waiting for Thorzain to take that opportunity to do so. These 5 Marines make the most of it while they can. They are out of this game here, but Thorzain, even though he doesn't get the hatchery, look at that. That's the first drones we've actually had over there mining. The income's pretty damn good for Thorzain. He's up to 61 SCVs, fighting against 80 drones, but it's still fine for Thorzain, who's actually opted to get a planetary fortress here, considering the very aggressive amount of units he's seen across the map.
Yeah, the Ultralisk Cavern, the Apollo, is on the way. It's finishing up here. +3 Carapace is on the way for Monster as well. It's going to be something very scary to deal with. It looks like we have a basically attack squad to go and snipe that hatchery. If he can avoid the units until the last second, stim in and kill that hatchery, he'll definitely be able to kill it. If he runs right over this creep, though, he won't. He's going to go around it now. This is pretty smart. And this game is very even right now. Even the upgrades very similar between these two players. One Ultra's on the way, and the Marines are stimming.
He scans, but there are infestors there. If they trap them before they get, oh my god, Thorzain, will he reach it? He reaches the hatchery, but is he going to kill it? Yes!
He gets the hatchery.
Big win there for Thorzain. And remember, there are 3 Ultras on the way, and without that third hatchery, he's not going to have the gas available to actually keep a good amount of units, and useful units, may I add, up to fight against Thorzain's force.
Yeah, he needs that gas. He absolutely needs it. Thorzain looks like he may go in for another surgical strike on this hatchery down here on the low ground. At the very least, he may siege up behind it, and that's going to make these Ultras less effective as well, depending on how he engages it. Right now, he only has the 1 Ultra out, but he's got 3 more on the way. quickly.
This is a very dangerous move here by Thorzain.
Yeah,
There's
very
still
risky.
a lot of units out here. 2-2 Lings are going to come crashing through. Tanks doing a lot of damage with their +1 upgrade. Hatchery gets cancelled. Another win there by Thorzain. And things are just going so well for the Swede in this series, not only in this series.
He's taking out more drones as well. Apollo, several drones walked right into these Marines. Things looking really good for him here. He's going to lose some of his Marines. There's a huge counterattack, but the planetary is in play. He may be able to get some of these siege tanks, however.
And Munster's starting to fall apart here, throwing away a lot of Lings into these tanks. Gets one, but loses absolutely everything there. 3 Infestors and Ultralists did want to join the force, but Thorzain's in great position right now. Wants to try to get these units home nice and safely. But still, it is 3 bases with a 4th command center on the way for Thorzain versus a struggling economy. And look at that, 400, 500 gas income per minute. Thorzain sprinting up the left-hand side once again here, looking to join forces.
Yep, and the hatchery does get taken out over here, not even canceled. He was so sure he would save it. And Thorzain coming across the left side as well. Things looking really bad for Monster right now.
And Thorzain just understands this matchup so well now. He's dropping the natural, killing overlords, and now he's in siege mode. Will the Lings and Ultras be able to wipe this down? That tank line is pretty damn deep and the Marines are pretty upgraded, but it looks like the Ultralists are going to be able to crush this through. The drop on the natural, though, still dealing damage necessary, and yes, he does clean it up. But to what end here? Is Marines still doing damage on this natural? Queens come in to help fight, and an Ultralisk as well. But Thorzain has a 4th base. If this turns into a planetary fortress, this will be another fortified area for him.
Now, this is the one thing to note is basically the army supplies are almost the same. The economies, though, are so different. The economy for Thorzain is just so much better. The income is better. He's been able to deny so much mining. He's not even done yet.
And
right
trying
now,
to set up position here as tanks on the high ground, but there's still a lot of Ultralists here. Well, and they're fully upgraded now, and they are shredding through what Thorzain has. Maybe overextending himself a little bit, is dropping in an amazing position on the natural, but the Lings are equally upgraded, of course. And now the planetary fortress is under attack, and Thorzain out of position here with his tanks in 3. Gets shot down incredibly fast here. He's hugging the planetary fortress. Will be able to, oh my god, Fungal broke down on the Marines as well.
But there are so many SCVs repairing this planetary. The other planetary that looks like will fall. He tries to repair, but he's a second too late.
And it looks like Thorzain may have overextended himself a little bit with infested Terrans here too. If this planetary fortress falls down, Thorzain will end the game, but it doesn't.
Monster takes game 1.
Wow, what composure.
Absolutely, such composure. And in that game, we didn't see the spoon turn. We saw a new Thorzain, an aggressive Thorzain, and even though that may have cost him the game, I really like it. If he can refine that aggression just a little bit more, I think we've seen a completely different style out of Thorzain.
I wonder if we did just do a little bit too much.
Yeah, I think just a little bit too much.
And you can see actually the first emotion shown there by Munster throughout this tournament as he kind of nods in kind of satisfaction because he knew he was in an incredibly difficult situation.
His economy was shot. He needed to get one really good engagement. That's exactly what he got. He took He took the risk. It's always a risk to make as many Ultralists as we saw him make. It's risky. Why? Because it costs a ton of money. His economy is low. He knows if he loses these Ultralists, he messes up his control, then he's going to lose the game. He can't replenish those, and he made them and he used them well.
And great composure, though. You know, just to stay calm and collected throughout that consistent reign of pressure there by Thorzain, dropping all over the place. And also, not to take anything away from Thorzain, but the multitasking from Munster there as well to be able to deal with the drops from multiple locations. And there is the Spoon Terran himself preparing for the next map. It is going to be Antigua Shipyard, probably the best map alongside Shakir's Plateau here for Thorzain to go into on this next map.
Especially considering his safe and patient style. I really think this map caters to that. We saw, though, again, I want to stress that the style that we saw from Thorzain last game was not really his Spoon Terran style. It was very aggressive, so attacking from multiple different angles, sieging up, attacking hatcheries constantly. He even had that attack squad to go and target down that base. He was all over the place. He was the one putting on all the aggression against the player who was on the defense.
And we are going into the next game. It is, like I said, going to be Antigua Shipyard. I've seen many times Thorzain bring up mech play on this map against Zerg. Actually finds it a great way to deal with this Ling Infestor play style, and then make sure you aren't going in before that hive actually starts to finish up. So let's load into the map now. On the right-hand side, we have an opponent currently 0-1. Will he be able to pull it back? Is none other than Matt Sports Thorzain. And of course, he did say in the last winner's interview that with the power of the crowd, he feels he can go the distance. Well, there is one man, currently 1-0 up, standing in his way, keeping Thorzain away from a final. And it is, of course, none other than the Korean Monster. And I'm sure we'll see a pretty basic build, of course, come out from Munster. What is Thorzain gonna do here? Being 0-1 behind, he hasn't been in this situation in this tournament. We talked about how well he's been playing here today.
Yeah.
Hasn't dropped a map all day. That's the first sign of weakness. And it's a very small sign of weakness too.
Yeah, and since he was looking so confident coming in here, there's basically two ways how this can affect him. One way would be it shatters his confidence, he starts to panic a little bit and he loses. But the other way is the way that I think Thorzain will look at this and say, you know what, I actually looked really dominant in that map. I barely lost. I almost took that game. I was all over him. I was tearing apart his economy. All I have to do is sit back, calm down, and do it again.
And this map has been played so often for Terran players against Zerg here. And basically, Terran, all they really need to do here is just make sure they survive, because we do see Zerg players opting to go very aggressive on this map. They know it becomes incredibly difficult the later the game goes on to actually prevent Terran player from taking the center and then controlling the flow of the game. So we do, you know, so many times see that aggression come out from Zerg. If Thorzain is able to just go into the late stages like we saw in that previous game, then he's going to be looking in good shape, and that's why we see so many good results from Terran plays here against Zerg.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is a map where the longer the game goes on, oftentimes the Zerg will struggle, especially if the Terran ever controls the center. If he controls the center, he controls those two center bases, most likely. Even with Planetaries there, it's a very reinforceable position. And by the looks of things, we're going to see the exact same build we saw out of Thorzain last game. This one's going to go for a Reactor Hellion Expand with Command Center first on the high ground.
Yeah, Command Center in the main here, and he's going to wall himself in. Keep the options guessing, I guess, for Munster. And of course, the Overlord is in a nice position already. He's going to see the refinery. We can actually click on it and see that, all right, there's 100 gas bin mine, and can even see what happens after that too. Whether, of course, Thorzain stays in, comes out, and kind of piece together the puzzle of what Thorzain is doing inside the main. And it looks like we are having another gasless style coming out by Munster. Quadruple Queens by the looks of it.
Yeah. He's going to get those two additional ones. And I'm thinking, again, we saw last time the Hellions put on a little bit of pressure, but Thorzain, not only did he change things up by doing a multiple barracks play before Starport, but he was able to use those early reactors he made to put a lot of pressure on with the Marines. How will Monster deal with that differently? Because last game, he dealt with it by making a ton of Zerglings, sending the Zerglings across the map, trying to catch Thorzain's army and engage it. Will we see a similar style on this map?
And we actually see 3 command centers by Thorzain here. And, excuse me, this may lead us to some early siege tanks after the initial couple of Hellions, maybe 4 Hellions or so. You don't want to dedicate too long because you will prolong those tanks from coming out. And with these initial Hellions, especially if he's going to go for that style, he will want, once again, to keep away of course, the drone trying to take a third base. But more importantly, especially playing a very greedy style like this from Thorzain, is that he wants to know, all right, how many Lings really is he got?
Yeah.
Is he like building, are they roaches coming at me at all? And the faster he spots that and identifies it, of course, the more reaction time he's going to have to actually prepare, get these tanks out, bunkers.
Tanks, make sure that he can lift up his command center, get his SCVs out of the natural. It's very, very important. That's what those Hellions are going to accomplish. This is one of the many reasons why Reactor Hellion Expand is so popular right now. Looks like he's going to come over here, he's going to see these queens, and that's going to kind of let him know what sort of style he's up against. He's going to see, oh, okay, no third base, I might hang out here for a while. It's going to be difficult for him to stop the creep spread until his 3rd and 4th Hellions arrive. And look at this monster just spraying the creep on the high ground again, something we've been talking about a lot.
And Thorzain's seen those 3 queens. Now he knows exactly what his opponent's doing, you know. just by simply seeing those 3 queens. Now knows his opponent was gasless to get these 3 queens out.
Right.
And knows that I'm going to have a macro hatch pretty early on here. So Thorzain already knows that aggression's not going to come. So he doesn't need to rush to being more defensive. He doesn't need to rush a bunker down or anything along those lines. He now knows, like we do, that speed is only 10 seconds in from 110. And Thorzain from behind this can even actually go ahead and pick up this command center. You could actually go ahead and land it down once the saturation completes over on that natural.
You're exactly right. And something to note, though, is Monster does see that command center with his Overlord. That's going to be really useful for him to know. The Hellions still remain out on the map. It's going to stop the creep spread a little bit, but Monster is actually spreading it towards his third base. He's not just stopping it entirely, he's keeping it going. I really like to see that because that's something that a lot of players do not do. They're like, oh, there's Hellions there, I'm going to stop spreading creep. He's using his Overlords to get that high ground vision, continue to spread that creep. And Hellions continue to go and check, okay, no third base. And Thorzain, again, I think he's being perhaps a little bit too reluctant to move that command center. He's not 100% saturated at his base, but he could start fortifying it if he wants to. It's up to him. The Monster Zergling speed is almost done. He is getting +1 Carapace. The Lair is on the way. He's got that macro hatchery. He has several different options available to him. I'm a little bit surprised we don't see a second evolution chamber. There is a Baneling nest going down, though. Yeah,
I think that he's just going to go Spire, to be honest. Yeah. Switching it up a little bit here, especially upon seeing that third command center may test the water a little bit in terms of turret timing, in terms of actual units out on the map. Lings are being produced quite heavily, though. He does want to try and get us around on these Hellions. If he does get that opportunity, and he is actually going around, and this is undetected, by the way. These Hellions were on the left-hand side. They did not see this, and there's nothing on the Xel'Naga Tower either. And Thorzain is sending this command center over, and this is maybe a bit of a surprise for the Swede.
Yeah, it definitely may be. Zergling is going to come up and perhaps block. He does get the block off. Nicely done. And it's going to be very annoying for Thorzain to deal with. It's not going to be too big of a problem. The rest of these Zerglings, though, are going to be a little bit more frustrating to deal with.
And Hellions now making their way back, realizing, all right, kind of got to go back now. There's a lot of creep out. There's a lot of Lings out. And more importantly, maybe I can get a through kills here. And he does get a couple of kills.
Uh-oh, he's going to get caught perhaps now, though. Nice control by Thorzain, dodging that just barely.
Has to be very, very careful. It's a very tense moment for Thorzain right now. Of course, he has a very small army supply, but he is in decent position. There are a lot of Lings out on the map, and there is the Spire coming down. No third base yet. Will be coming down very, very shortly, but look at the gas. The Spire is a little bit later. He played a very safe Spire play. Got the lot of Lings out. He got +1 Carapace, the Baneling Nest, and also the Centrifugal Hooks, but still has 1,000 gas in the bank. That's going to be immediately 10 Mulisk. Then
of course.
I don't think that Thorzain's really expecting this. Is only a single turret out on the map.
Yeah, and his Marine count is not quite where he would necessarily like it to be at this point. He does have Stim, and with the Mutos out, he's going to have so many. He's going to have to make sure he's got everything in position when those Muse arrive. There is an armor on the way. Not going to want to make Thors right away, but he does have that option.
Oh, he's going to bust, man. He's actually going to bust.
Yeah, this is really weird.
He's got almost 100 Lings out, and
I don't know how much I like this because he hasn't killed the rocks yet. And
oh, look at that. That's a really nice little maneuver here by Thorzain. It actually hurts his SCVs for a little bit here as they try to get in there, but a bunker and supply depots will fortify this area. Tank in an amazing position on the higher ground, but he's just going to try and kill Thorzain right now. In come the Banelings. There's no third base whatsoever. Thorzain is, oh my god, is he going to see all this morph? He sees a lot of units here, and he knows that he's about to be under a lot of pressure. And look at him now, actually moving Marines to the back. Look how many tanks are up. Bunker's coming down too, and he gets a pretty decent reaction time on this. But does he have enough here?
That is a very good question. It's going to be hard for Monster to engage this, though.
Oh, he picks the tank off on the higher
Nicely done.
ground.
He's going for it. I'm not sure if this is enough units for Monster. The position here is very good.
Oh my god, this is incredibly close right now. Marines are falling in. Has he got enough here? The supply dropping for Thorzain, but he has so many barracks. The 10, 11 Marines per time, the reinforcements will come out, and he will hold on to this.
A very decent hold here, but more Zerglings will stream in and clean up some of these Marines. And this trade is, I think, definitely better for Thorzain, but only slightly, as now he's losing a lot more Marines.
Oh, and the Medivacs have got to be so careful. They're actually key in holding this, and the Zerglings cannot enter the mineral line on the north here. And now Thorzain is starting to stabilize 11 Marines per time. 2 is on the way, 22
Banelings, man. It looks like Monster has no backup plan here. He absolutely wants to end this game. The life of Thorzain is hanging.
If Thorzain tries to hold this center ground and hold this third base, he could still lose this. If he just decides to give up the third base, he can still hold on, but in this lower ground area, he's in a lot of trouble.
He needs to raise those depots, but he does not. He wants to wet the Marines in. Nice targeting on the Banelings, but they are continuing to roll through.
Thorzain has to split for his tournament life. Now remember, there's still 11 Marines per time coming out. And once again, Thorzain manages to hold, but there's still more Lings coming in. Medivacs are healing, and they do manage to push him back again, but this is still not over. Thorzain has a tank on the higher ground, though. There are no mutalisks, so this tank is going to be so crucial.
GG! Thorzain holds!
Woo! That was a tense game there.
That was very tense indeed. I feel like Monster could have controlled his Banelings a little bit better in that fight, but the targeting, the splitting from Thorzain was just too good. His free split before the first battle, I think, was very key in that engagement.
And that was what we talked about. As long as Thorzain survives on that map, that's almost a must-win and an easy win for Thorzain, and I'm sure he knows it. And looking upon Thorzain right now, he knows that that would have been the easiest game of all three. Now he still has to go to a final map, and if I remember correctly, it is going to be on Ohana.
Yep.
We saw this map earlier. Red failed to win on it. Maybe that's going to be a sign here for Thorzain.
It's entirely possible, man. I am so impressed by Thorzain's hold. I really do think if Monster had controlled his Banelings, spread them out a little bit. He blew up a lot of his Banelings on supply depots. Even a few of them hit the command center. If he had hit those SCVs or hit those Marines, he might have had a backup plan. But instead, Thorzain targeted them down with the siege tank. They didn't hit what they needed to hit. And Thorzain's pre-splitting before that first big roll-in allowed him to hold that. The mutas were very low on hit points. He just barely had enough. The medevacs were so crucial.
And I think what was really key there was that Thorzain didn't zone out and focus on his own game.
Yeah.
With those Hellions that went to the Xel'Naga Tower to just kind of grab a feeling of the map. How many units are around? You know, is it just a single Zergling there?
Yeah.
And then upon going into that center, he had basically the best reaction time possible for the circumstances.
If
and
he
didn't see that, he would have died.
He would have died for sure. And that's a little bit, in my opinion, Monster's mistake. Monster should have done a better job of denying him.
All right, man. It looks like we are ready to go into the third map here. It is going to be on ESV Ohana.
Press that button.
I pressed the button.
All right, man. I cannot wait. This is the final and deciding game. Only one of these players will advance to the finals. Will it be Monster? Will it be Thorzain? Only time will tell.
And there is the final boss waiting in... Oh, well, I don't know where he's actually waiting. But he will be waiting in the final for one of these guys. Who is it going to be to join Pulp? Well, that's what we are here for, Wolf, to find out who our second finalist is going to be here at the DreamHack EIZO Open. Thank you guys for joining on the stream. Thank you in the crowd. You've been an amazing crowd so far. So let's hear you one last time here on this map. This is none other than Mouse Sports Thorzain. And his opponent, remember, still undefeated in this tournament. Is Thorzain going to put an end to that? We'll have to find out. It is NYM MVP Monster.
This is going to be a really, really great match to watch unfold. I think Thorzain's going to do the same build he did last game, at least the opening where he goes for the command center before factory, but still does the reactor Hellion expand. I think that's something that we'll likely see.
Yeah, man. I just spilled coffee on myself.
I know, I watched you. I didn't know if you were going to acknowledge that. I was like, should I make fun of him or just let him figure it out? And well,
it was cool. I was actually ready for you to make fun of me, so I jumped in there right before you. And I was like, all right, take your best shot.
I'm a nice guy. I wasn't going to say it if you didn't want me to. The gas, not yet taken for Thorzain. probably be dropping it soon if he has any plans to. And with him still not taking it, I think we're going to see a 1 barracks expand here.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty good on this map. We talked about this actually, but no, actually, it's going to take just a little gas.
A little bit later. And Thorzain often does this. This is
Yeah.
why he gets the command center before the reactor Hellions.
Yeah, I actually really like getting like 15, 16 gas. You can even go all the way to 17, you know, depending on how fast you want to get that command center out. Because at the same time, the 15 gas basically gets the same result as like a 13 gas would do. You're still going to have the Hellions out. The creep's not going to extend any further, and you're not really looking to do damage early on. But at the same time, you're about to grab a faster command center.
You get the faster command center, you get that down there on your natural faster, you get the faster mule. It's a pretty good trade. I like it. Oh, look at this. Sick depot trap by Thorzain, getting that drone.
Not bad, not bad. Not bad there. And there's the early command center. Inside his main again, though. That's an interesting decision here, considering he could have just easily thrown it down. And this may lead to actually what we'll see is a factory, maybe an early third command center once again. This map does actually lean towards taking a faster third base. If you look at the natural here, as long as you just kill the disruptor rocks, it's such an easy third base to take. And you can have tanks on the high ground here, and then just have, you know, sprinkle a couple of down, and you fortify a very strong position.
Yeah. Very true indeed, and I'm a little bit surprised. Something else to note about Thorzain is he is not scouted, not even a little bit. He has no idea what his opponent is up to, and this is something that I think is okay, but it's a little bit scary for him.
Yeah, especially because his opponent has taken gas this time around compared to the regular just queenless we've seen in game 1 and 2. This opens up a lot of aggressive potential ability here for Munster to go into, whether it be for a roach bailing attack or whether it be for absolutely nothing at all and just stays out of gas and wants to tick away afterwards towards that layer. But there is that third command center.
Third command center, a pretty bold move to make in a best of 3 the final game without scouting. That is super risky, but Thorzain is just, he's putting all the cards on the table right now.
And we do see 8 lings actually coming out here, and I guess that's, oh, a 10 lings? What is this guy trying to do here? Speed is about to finish at the same time, still has not gone back into gas. 20 lings. Ooh,
this is that pressure we were talking about before with the reason why the bunker is no longer put at the top of the ramp or at the front, because you have to have that command center next to it. You have to defend against that mineral line. Otherwise, the lings will just run by.
But as long as Thorzain doesn't make any critical mistakes with these Hellions, they're going to be key in defending
Absolutely.
this. And Thorzain kills the first, and oh, look, I know exactly. Wolf, get out. Look at this. This trap. I think it's going to be, well, it's either two things. It can be a trap where he's just going to go and be like, all right, well, if you're going to send your Hellions towards me, I'm going to come at you.
Oh, man, he's just barely avoiding that watchtower. Does
Let's have a look
Thorzain
at that
see?
vision.
Oh, no, he gets a little bit too close. He has no choice. He comes in, though.
He can lift the supply
Needs
depots
to lift
up.
the depots.
And he's not really going to lose a lot here. There's 4 SCVs and a mule, and this is actually a really bad trade here for Munster.
Really
as long
bad
as
trade.
Thorzain doesn't mess up.
Yeah, as long as Thorzain controls correctly. I have never seen a juke like that before, but he may lose a Hellion.
Oh, he's trying to come back with another Hellion here, but he has more than enough. And even if he goes right behind the mineral line, this is going to get shut down. And look at that. Hell, Thorzain says,
Thorzain looking really good. A lot of Zerglings wasted there. Yeah. A very risky move by Monster, something that a lot of Zergs do every now and then. But it's something that Thorzain was prepared for. He just couldn't avoid the watchtower. Thorzain saw, brought his Hellions back in time, and didn't really lose anything. Raised his depots. A pretty risky move by Monster. In my opinion, I don't really like it. No,
it was actually a really weird decision to try that out. And because of that, his drones were at 39, where they probably would have been at 50 by now. 2 lings do go in the main base here, and that's pretty damn good for Munster. That's does pay back a little bit of damage done. Gets an SCV kill there as well. We're actually going to get, oh, almost got a second one, but he sees the double engineering bay. He now sees the, you know, we could say greed a little bit, considering that there's so little in terms of army force here. What does Munster do in retaliation? He throws down double evolution chamber. He has a macro hatch as well. Nothing significant has come because of that scout, though. That's clear here.
Well, you know, Monster, like you said, he saw that Thorzain's being greedy. He's like, you made a third command center really fast. You got the double E-base, but what can he do? He lost his pressure ability when he lost all of those Zerlings, so now he's kind of going to be really frustrated. I mean, you were that greedy, and I wasn't able to do any damage to my Zerlings. That's just a frustrating thing to have to recognize.
And because of Thorzain's defensive posture with these Hellions, because of the aggressive nature we've seen from Munster, the one good thing because of that image he's created for himself is that he grabs a third base uncontested, where this would have never happened if Thorzain was actually on the offensive with these Hellions. And he's going to move down here with these Hellions and be like, oh, god damn it, all right. And can actually come down, start to target it. Lings are trying to run into the natural, and
he is going to welcome him with open arms, really, with the defense he has set up. I don't think he would lower the depots. Does take out 3 creep tumors there. That's really, really important. That means the Queen's going to have to come down and restart those tumors.
And a lot of small victories in this game for Thorzain. And we've seen about 3 small victories, and that's pretty significant so far, considering it's only at the 10-minute mark here.
And Monster, Thorzain is destroying those rocks. That's something Monster is not doing, which is a little bit disappointing considering he has some units out on the map. He's going to try to catch Hellions with them instead. And again, this is a risky choice. He could lose so much here.
Oh, he doesn't. He gets one trap to the back, a second one. Actually, he doesn't lose the second one. One Hellion for a lot of Lings there. Definitely cost efficient there for Thorzain. Look at this.
I really don't like when Zergs think they can try to grab Hellions like this, because if the Terran is ever paying attention, you're just going to lose so much as a result. Thorzain pulling ahead in supply. 40 more Zerlings on the way as 1-1 is about to finish here. He's going to try to get these Hellions again.
He's losing so much here. I'm about to bring up the units lost tab momentarily, and I'm going to show you a very interesting figure. And a couple of Hellions do go down, but he understands at the same time that that third base is going to be taken very shortly. And let's have a look at that tab now. Bring it up. Look at that. Thorzain, 600. 2,000, that's a lot of resources and lava wasted in this game.
He's so desperate to get rid of those Hellions.
It's like, take 5.
He really is, man. He is just trying so hard to get rid of them. Because if he does get rid of them, then he can bully the map with those Zerlings. But he needs the Hellions to be dead before he can do so. He's had that third base up for a long time. He hasn't really saturated. He's finally now going to work on those rocks.
Yeah, finally going down there, and god damn it, spilled coffee on myself again. These plastic cups, man, I never mastered them. And let's have a look at this now. Reaper on the way, very interesting choice here by Thorzain. And we also, I don't know what the hell that's for actually. Maybe just kind of a little maneuver, a little smart tactic where he comes around the side, unexpectedly picks off a couple of drone kills, and that's more than worth it.
What I do understand and really like is the addition of 2 extra factories here. That's going to allow him a lot of extra production. He can produce whatever he wants from them. He's got +1 on the way for his ground units as well. The Zergling force here from Monster is he's got 72 Lings out, and since he was able to push those Hellions back, he's kind of comfortable to do this, take control of the watchtowers, try to catch rogue units that come into his view. But Thorzain is going to be ready to move out fairly soon here. As soon as his 2-2 finishes and his +1 for vehicle weapons, I think he'll have a timing to move out with.
And a drop comes on by Thorzain. The right-hand side is picked up immediately. Is Munster going to respond here? And I think he is. He's moving his Lings back home here, and Infestors, Fest is in position, but Thorzain decides to drop down upon being spotted. A smart decision, but we do see a hive. We haven't really talked about that, and you know, that's something that we saw Rhett try to do on this map as well, and so far so good. It has gone undetected, but Thorzain's about to lift up a drop in the main base, and if it actually gets in there deep enough, he's
This attack is
Munster gives a free win to Thorzain, and well, that's another victory, I suppose, as he manages to escape that one.
That was a very close call. He's going to want to pick up here right away. And the Infestors are nearby, but not quite close enough. I'm a little bit surprised Thorzain did not take advantage of the fact his opponent used all of those units to chase down that one drop to reposition himself. He is trying to go over now. There's a drop at the 9 o'clock as well that's set up here.
And Thorzain did actually manage to see, as he scanned in the main base, the hive is finished. And Thorzain picks up, very cost efficient in this game. First time Thorzain's actually going to lose something, or is he? He's actually going to get away.
He does get away indeed, just barely. And he does see the Ultros Cavern as well. He's going to catch perhaps some of these Zerglings. The Infestors are going down. He's losing all the Infestors, and now the Zerglings have no support. Thorzain taking a huge supply lead here. His 2-2 upgrades are done. He's moving out at a great timing now. There are very few infestors on the map. He's going to target them down.
Another one goes down, a couple of Marines and Hellions there, and now there's only 2 infestors to help the Legion Ultralisk. This army just got pathetically weak, and Munster realizes that, and oh my god, Thorzain sets up a beautiful posture here. And he's looking really good.
Definitely is. There is one infestor here. He gets a decent fungal, but so many Zerglings are going down. He needs those units to buffer.
Say hello.
Speed. Here come the Ultralisks.
And oh my god, he loses infestors lings on that Zalnugget Tower. The Ultralisks come in, but there's a lot of tanks here shelling a lot of damage down to these Ultralisks. And are they actually going to survive? The last Ultralisk goes down, and Thorzain is one small win away from, oh my god, this is actually, I can't believe this is happening. One win away from going to the final.
He may very well be able to do it.
Position ever here, and he's reinforcing like a legend. Look at this, a 4th command center down as well. And oh my god, Munster's on the edge of losing here.
Yep, here come the Zerglings for another last-ditch attempt. He's going to be able to clean up perhaps the majority of these tanks, but he's losing so much. Thorzain tearing through the rest of these Zerglings, and more reinforcements coming in. It looks like he may be able to finally take out this hatchery.
Oh my god, Thorzain's unlocked the 3rd hatchery now, and is shredding damage down onto this Ultralisk. And GG's
Thorzain's going to the finals!
We have a Swedish player in the finals, ladies and gentlemen, going up against PSL Cole. And oh my god, comes back from behind to take it 2-1, and there is your finalist, Thorzain!
All right, pipe down, you Vikings. I want to hear what he thinks about that. You, sir, are in the finals of DreamHack Stockholm.
Yes, sir.
The fans have been behind you this entire time. You lost that first game, and then to come back and to win it 2-1. And you held something. I mean, I've never seen a Terran hold that gigantic Baneling bust in game number 2. It seems it's something that Violet does all the time. I mean, what were you thinking when you scattered all those lings in the middle of that map?
Well, I was expecting it to come even before the game. I was kind of expecting it because it's that map is really bad against Zerg, so for Zerg against Terran, so they tend to do that all in. But I think I won only because he had all his Banelings in a clump and didn't split them up, so I could have my 4 tanks just focus fire them one by one, and no Banelings reached my Marines, and that's why I won.
Yeah. So much of what separates the players of your caliber and the rest of us who can't get to these finals is that voice. Well, there's a lot of us, guys. Come on, that's not. Is that voice, that pressure? I mean, we could see it visibly on you in that game number 2. You kind of sat back and just a huge sigh came off you. What did you tell yourself going into game number 3?
People have said that Ohana is a good Zerg map, but I've been having really good results on it, so I was not that nervous, even though it was Ohana. I felt very comfortable. And then when I saw he had his speed in the beginning, I realized that since he didn't go speed first in the other games, that he was going to use it for something. So that's why I stayed defensive with my Hellions and kill his Lings.
Game number 3, you were talking a little bit about how confident you were going into it. Did you know you were going to face Ling Infester? And then, I mean, what is your read on that? Did you feel like it constant pressure, popping those Infestors? Was that the big turning point for you?
Can you repeat that, the last part, last sentence?
I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what is your mindset going into the? I mean, you talked about the map itself, but also the matchup in the style he chose, Lingenfester into Ultralisk. You didn't see a Spire. You were scanning the Hive. You knew it was coming. What was your mindset going towards that? And did you feel confident even seeing what he was doing?
I learned from my first game. I was thinking after I lost that game that I was in the lead, but then I took fights with a small army, and with Marine and Tank, you can't beat Ultralisks in small sizes. So you need to wait for a really big army. Then the Ultras will clump and stuff like that. So even though it didn't really go to that stage where we're both maxed, I felt pretty comfortable against Ling Ultra.
Very good. Yeah. Now, one last question about that before we talk about Polt. You know, people used to call you, or they still do, the Spoon Terran for these like small, very, you know, just strategical attacks that take out small chunks of their opponent. But in this series, you were being very aggressive. You were going after him. I mean, are you the Shovel Terran now, or are you just kind of moving away from that? What are you doing?
Well, I've been, like, I saw the opportunities and I took them. I've been trying to work on not always being that spoony because, well, it has its benefits, but sometimes it brings me down as well. So I've been trying to just be a little bit more aggressive, and yeah, it worked.
Yeah, I would say so. Okay, so going into the grand finals, you will be facing Polt. He's only dropped one map, and it was to a Zerg. Cytoplasm, if I'm not mistaken. One map to a Zerg, yep. So it's TVT. I mean, how prepared are you for this? Are you ready? Or do you feel like you can take Polt out?
I've played Polt in 3 separate times before, all in MSI Pro Cup finals, and I've lost all 3 times. 0-3, 0-3, 1-3. So it's gonna be very hard. But on the other hand, I feel more prepared against his style than I was back then.
Okay. Well, I think I speak for everybody when I say we wish you the best of luck. Polt is an amazing opponent, and you guys are going to put on a fantastic show. We're really excited about that. Let's give it up for Thorzain, please. Before we go to those finals, DreamHack has prepared a little video, guys. Let's go ahead and go to that now.
I think the fan award would go to Naniva or Sase. Probably Naniva.
I think Polt will win the fan award because he's a really nice guy.
Probably a fan of some kind. Probably a fan. Maybe. No, I'm going to go with fan.
I think that we have a new contender that will be Proxy Panda because he defeated Mousesport's Mana just. So I think he gets at least the most new fans for this competition.
Oh, that's another really difficult question. There's a lot of really nice guys there, so I don't know.
CLO.
Naniva.
Yeah, Naniva or Rhett.
Polt.